Hello and welcome to the first hands-on session on engineering the enterprise semantic layer. Today we will be creating a business object. In this case it will be marketing campaign, and then we will be creating its model or so-called ontology. In this purpose, we are confronted here with this interface in which we see all the cataloged business objects alongside with their definitions and their already existing ontologies. Next, we will create simply a new one. In this case, it will be marketing campaign. And in this regard, we will be just giving it a definition in the form of a description, which we will put on here. Now, we will see that the business object was created, and we can find it here through this text search. Next, we will be confronted with the task of creating now the marketing campaign business objects ontology. In this purpose, we will be jumping through clicking on it here directly to the visual canvas, and here we will be redirected here to an empty canvas, which will be having the chance to start modeling our given business object marketing campaign. Now, the first option is utilizing MetaFactory's classical features, which is the visual modeling. So here I can, for example, just create a class, marketing campaign, and give it, for example, some kinds of attributes, which it could be, for example, the attribute label. And I can also import other business objects ontologies, such as I can do also here. For example, if we wanted to say that we want somehow to relate our marketing campaign to the class customer. Yeah? So we will import simply the customer ontology. So next we could, through the visual canvas, interlink both business objects to define their given relationship, saying that a marketing campaign targets a given type of customer, right? So this could be, let's say, our first approach in which we utilize, first of all, our visual modeling feature to start creating our business object ontology. However, we can also leverage our AI Metis feature in order to do this AI driven. Yeah. So in this case, what we would do would be just simply clicking on this button here in the top. And then we can here, through this conversational interface, now leverage AI to finalize modeling our business object ontology for marketing campaign with the help of this agent. So here we are, first of all, prompted here with some information, right? It already knows that the marketing campaign class exists, that it was already defined in a relationship with customer, as we just did. So the next step will be just here to define the scope of purpose of the marketing campaign business object, and it would suggest us a set of competency questions that the model should be capable of answering. So we have, let's say, before we end up with a finalized version of the model. So in this regard, I will just start giving it, supporting here with what it's asking me to do. First of all, provide a purpose. So and here we can tell it that a marketing campaign is a coordinated, time-bounded initiative designed to promote a specific product, service, brand message, or strategic objective through one or more communication channels. So this is the idea behind that. What we're doing is now in a top-down approach, first of all, leveraging our, let's say, natural language business definition of what the business object means in this enterprise context. So Metis can take that definition, which is something, let's say, that we all agree upon, and then based on that, start translating it into a data model. So for example, here, it already, according to the definition that we provided, it started suggesting here a set of competency questions, such as what is the business description of marketing campaign, which customers are targeted by a given campaign, what product, service, or brand message is a marketing campaign intended to promote, right? And continues. For example, what strategic objective does a given marketing campaign support, right? All of these kind of business questions that the model should be able to answer by default, yeah? Because this is the purpose of what we are doing here on behind. We are modeling a given concept, and the given concept is supposed to be able to answer these kind of questions, that these questions would require identifying where that data is stored throughout all of the different systems of the enterprise. So for example, now the next step will be to proceed with the step conceptualization. For example, in order to answer all of these competency questions, Metis will suggest us a given ontology, a given model that will capture all of these different domains, and it will then translate them into an ontology, into a model. So here it's taking, suggesting us two options, right? If we want to pick, let's say, here focus rather on planning and targeting only, or also include performance, also budget and metrics. Let's go also for B. So it's a little bit more of a complex question, let's say a rather more complex ontology that captures a little bit more of a complex of a domain. So to model outcomes, result, and budget in a canonical system agnostic way, need three key performance measures you want to capture and pick from this suggested as default, edit as needed. So let's go for all of them. So let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's go for this first 4. With the ideas that, of course, we as a subject matter expert can chat with the agent and then decide together with it, let's say, how we want to proceed, what do we want to ignore, or what we want to definitely consider. So here, for example, budget model options, choose one. In case here for modeling budget, let's say, so let's continue with what was suggested on here first. So we see that here some different classes are suggested, some relationships and attributes. So let's go with this and confirm encoding. Perfect. So now this is the, let's say, end result, in which we see we have ontology created to describe the marketing campaign business object. And here we see different classes that were here attributed. For example, a marketing campaign will have a marketing campaign outcome. It will have different kinds of clicks, conversions, impressions, leads generated, and also will be conducted by a given channel, right? It will target a customer segment, will have a strategic objective. This is the idea of the ontology now that describes the marketing campaign business object. And the next step now will be leveraging Metis, also here to validate that the given competency questions that we agreed upon at the beginning are now answered. But this is the model so far, and this is how Metis supported in building it. So let's say, please continue. Now the idea is that after this model was created by the AI agent will also validate it by creating the given Sparkle queries to prove that everything is right according to what we agreed upon, and all of these competency questions can be all tackled. So that's what's be happening now in the sense of quality control. Perfect. Great. So now we see the results. All of the competency questions are also answerable through the model. We can see that now Metis was able to create given Sparkle queries to confirm their fetchability. So all of this can now be targeted. So this concludes the task for today. So next step, what we do is simply we can now go back to the Ontology editors view, and here we can see that now we have a finalized AI supported business object ontology created that describes the marketing campaign business object and also sets it in context with another business object, such as it's here, for example, the customer business object. So this concludes today's session, and summarizing it, what we did is we just created through our UI a given business object, and then we leverage our ontology modeling features, first the visual one, to start defining our business object ontology. So here we started creating some classes, and we imported classes from other ontologies, so we set them both in context. And then to finalize the modeling of our business object ontology, we simply leverage our AI feature. So it supported us by carrying us out throughout the modeling process and asking us the competency questions we wanted to capture. So the result at the end is a given model that will describe canonically the business object marketing campaign, all its relevant metadata, and it's also been quality proofed by the same agent. So now we are sure that this model can tackle those competency questions we wanted at the beginning, and it covers the desired outcome. Thank you very much, and see you soon.